Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're plunging into a topic that's, well, it's fundamentally reshaping our world. Artificial intelligence, specifically large language models, or LLMs. We've pulled together some really insightful sources from a public AI summit. The focus was writing prompts for everyday life. Our mission for you today, to cut through the noise, give you a clear path to understanding what LLMs are, how they function, and most importantly, the practical techniques to get the absolute best out of them. Our source material kicks off by asking you about your AI knowledge and whether you've actually used an LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini, Copilot, maybe Claude, or Meta AI. So for you listening right now, just consider, where do you stand? Maybe you're just curious, perhaps you're already experimenting a bit.
And what's truly powerful, as our sources really highlight, is that no matter your current experience level, there's immense potential to significantly expand your AI skills. Your confidence, too. This deep dive is really crafted specifically to empower you with those actionable insights, to move you from just being curious to, well, truly capable.
Okay, so let's unpack this. A foundational piece of advice from the sources. The best way to start interacting with LLMs is simply to try. Just jump in. They suggest using tools like ChatGPT with pretty straightforward prompts. Things like suggest fun activities to make friends in a new city, or maybe create a workout plan for resistance training. It really shows how accessible these tools can be for, daily life.
Yeah, but this immediately brings up a really crucial question. What makes a prompt good? Now, the exact nuance isn't spelled out in detail right there, but the implication, especially when you look at the later stuff on the 4Cs, it's pretty clear. A good prompt isn't just what you ask. It's really how you ask it.
Okay. So the difference might be subtle.
Exactly. It often lies in subtle additions of, say, clarity or context.
Right. Or a desired outcome.
Precisely. Something that nudged the LLM towards a better result. It just underscores the huge impact of how we phrase things.
So if that's the art of prompting, how do these incredible tools actually function, behind the scenes? Our sources offer this brilliant analogy. Algorithms are like recipes. Think about it. You've got your ingredients, that's your input. Then the instructions for combining them, that's the algorithm itself. And the finished dish, well, that's the output.
And if we extend that recipe idea to large language models, the ingredients are just unbelievably vast. These models learn from what are called tokens.
Tokens.
Yeah, essentially individual words or parts of words, sometimes even characters. And they're scraped from trillions of pieces of language data.
Trillions.
Wow. Where does all that data come from?
Oh, all over. Publicly available websites like Wikipedia, online forums, Reddit, Quora, Stack Overflow, and even a huge collection of books, articles, magazines, other copyrighted materials too. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Once they've ingested all these ingredients, the model starts to learn patterns, right? It predicts what word is most likely to come next.
That's exactly it. It's like a highly sophisticated linguistic prediction game, all powered by probability.
So imagine it trying to complete the boy walked his hit.
The more data it sees, the better it gets at guessing that next word.
Right.
And this whole learning process, it typically involves 3 key stages. These refine them from just simple predictors into, well, conversational partners. First is learning language. This is the foundational step. It's where the AI's internal neural network, you can think of that as its complex computational brain inspired by ours. It takes input words like the boy walked his and tries to predict the next word.
And if it gets it wrong, like guessing pizza instead of dog.
It adjusts. It changes its internal connections and values, learning to predict better next time. But this initial training, it's incredibly resource intensive. We're talking months, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of dollars in specialized computing power, GPUs, electricity. It's massive.
Okay, stage 1, learning the language itself. What's next?
Second is learning to have conversations. So beyond just predicting single words, they're then trained to engage in, actual dialogue back and forth. The sources point out how human feedback is vital here.
How so?
Humans help the model understand which kinds of conversational responses are most appropriate, most helpful for a given question or turn in the chat.
Got it. So learning the flow of conversation.
Exactly. And the third stage builds on that. Learning from human feedback, often called RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Reinforcement learning, like rewards.
Pretty much. It's like teaching through trial and error. Good answers get rewarded, maybe just by being ranked higher by a human, and less ideal ones lead to adjustments in the model. This whole process optimizes how the model makes decisions. It significantly improves its relevance, its coherence, and importantly, its ability to actually follow your instructions.
Okay, so after all that training, the finished dish in our recipe analogy.
Our sources describe it as the LLM generating new content that tries to resemble, as closely as possible, the input data.
Right. It's mimicking the patterns it learned.
But here's the crucial takeaway, the catch, really, because these models predict based on patterns and probabilities. From data that's often vast, yes, but also potentially incomplete or inaccurate or even biased.
They can make mistakes.
They can and do make mistakes, sometimes quite convincingly. That's why understanding how to guide them, how to prompt them effectively, is just so vital.
Okay. So, knowing how they work, and crucially, knowing their limitations. How do we reliably get the best, most accurate, most useful stuff out of them? Our sources introduce this really powerful framework. They call it the 4 C's of effective prompts. This, for me, feels like a real game changer.
It really is. This framework is the practical guide. It helps you turn vague requests into really powerful directives. Let's break them down. First, C, clarity.
Be clear. Makes sense.
Absolutely precise. Tell the LLM not just what to do, but also what not to do. Include specifics, like desired word count or the tone you want, the format. Think back to that mummy example. If prompt 2 added clarity like, make this lesson plan for a 5th grade history class.
Ah, that's clarity in action. Got it.
Exactly. Second C, character.
Character, like give it a personality.
Precisely. Assign a specific persona. You could say, act as a marketing expert reviewing this copy. Or maybe you are a witty historian guiding me through the Roman Empire.
Okay, I like that. It sets the stage.
It immediately frames the tone, the style, even the depth of its response. It's really effective. Third C, context.
Provide background info.
All relevant background info. The more context you give, the situation, what your goal is, what you already know, the better the LLM can tailor its output specifically to your needs. You avoid those generic, useless responses.
More context, better results. Makes sense. Okay, what's the 4th C?
Fourth C, chain of thought.
Chain of thought.
Yeah. For any complex task, you explicitly instruct the LLM to think step by step. This forces it to break down the problem logically before generating the final answer.
So it shows its work, kind of.
Kinda, yeah. It leads to more structured, reasoned, and often much more accurate results. And be ready to ask follow-up questions, guide it further if needed.
Clarity, character, context, chain of thought, the 4 C's. Okay. This brings us right to the real-world application, what our sources call prompting practice. Once you really get the hang of applying the 4 C's, you can unlock so much potential across pretty much every part of your life, it seems.
Yeah, the sources outline a fantastic range of prompt ideas. They categorize them, which is helpful, to show just how versatile these tools can be. First up, prompts for productivity.
Okay, like work or learning.
Exactly. For learning, imagine asking an LLM to explain something complex, maybe quantum physics, but in smaller, easy-to-understand chunks, and then have it generate comprehension questions to test your understanding.
That's really targeted learning.
Cool. For editing, it can improve the clarity and flow of your writing, sure, but it can also provide a polished version and explain the specific changes it made. So it becomes a learning experience, too.
Learning why the changes were made. Nice.
Memorization. You can ask it to create mnemonics or acronyms, maybe vivid imagery to help you remember difficult info. Makes rote learning a bit more engaging.
Definitely need that sometimes.
And even illustration. You could use it to transform, say, an article into a compelling infographic outline, ready for a tool like Lucidchart, visualizing info.
Okay, lots of productivity uses. What about personal life?
Yeah, category 2, prompts for personal life. For planning, maybe you've got a block of focus time and a huge to-do list. An LLM can help you prioritize. Create a strategic plan to make real, meaningful progress.
Okay, cutting through the overwhelm.
Exactly. Brainstorming, stuck on dinner ideas, random stuff in the fridge. Ask it what you can cook for quick, tasty recipes that don't require a trip to the store.
Huh. The eternal question. Solved.
Maybe. Reflection. It can help you identify your personal values or guide you through reflective questions designed to uncover what truly matters to you.
That's deeper. Interesting.
And language learning. Imagine engaging in a story chain in, say, Spanish about a specific topic and getting real-time suggestions for rephrasing your sentences as you practice.
Interactive language practice. Great idea.
And the third category is fun, playful prompts.
Okay, let's hear these.
Synthesizing. Had a stressful day. Do a brain dump, just type out all your thoughts. Then ask the LLM to reflect it back to you, but in an unexpected format.
Like what?
A children's story, or a haiku, a Taylor Swift song,
Yeah.
even Yoda wisdom.
Seriously. Yoda wisdom.
Why not? It's a creative way to process things, maybe get a different perspective.
I guess so. Okay, what else for playful?
Transformation. Imagine taking your workshop notes and asking the LLM to summarize them and transform them into a script for a 7-minute podcast. Maybe using a tool like NotebookLM, which is designed for working with your own notes.
Wow, repurposing content in new ways.
It's about reimagining and repackaging information in fun new ways, just playing with it.
So, after trying some of these prompts and hearing about others' experiences, what really stood out from the varied feedback we reviewed in the sources? Any big insights?
Yeah, a few key things. One major insight was how wildly results can vary. You can use the exact same prompt in 2 different LLMs, or even the same LLM at different times, and get noticeably different outputs.
Really? Why is that?
It's because of their probabilistic nature. Remember, they're predicting the next word based on probabilities, not retrieving a fixed answer from a database. There's an element of randomness built in.
Okay, that's important. So you can't always expect the same result twice.
Exactly. And it underscores why verifying the output, especially for factual claims, with other reputable sources is always, always crucial. Don't just trust it blindly.
Good advice. What else?
What's also fascinating, and reinforces our earlier points, is how significantly adding context or a specific background shapes the AI's response, and even its preamble, how it introduces itself or frames the answer. Well, one user in the material specifically noted, finding that identifying themselves as, say, an attorney with intermediate AI knowledge, got a profoundly different, more nuanced and appropriately technical response compared to simply stating, "I am a second grader," or just no background at all.
Ah, so that character and context you feed it directly impacts the tone and complexity of the answer.
Absolutely. It strongly reinforces the importance of specificity.
Mhm.
The AI uses that information to tailor its output. These models aren't just, regurgitating facts from Wikipedia. They're genuinely identifying and applying patterns, making connections, however unconventional they might seem to us sometimes.
That's a fantastic example. So overall, these experiences seem to really back up the 4Cs framework.
Definitely. The feedback consistently showed the 4Cs are extremely helpful. Another key takeaway that popped up was that explicitly asking the LLM to ask me follow-up questions if you need more information can be very effective.
Ah, prompting it to ask you questions.
Yeah, especially for complex tasks where you might not know exactly what information it needs up front. It turns it into more of a dialogue and helps guide the conversation, really leaning into that chain of thought process.
That's a great tip. Now let's shift gears slightly and turn to some critical limitations and considerations. Because even the most brilliantly crafted prompts, using all 4Cs and maybe some few-shot examples, well, they can't fix everything. Responsible AI use is paramount.
Absolutely crucial. And first and foremost, we have to talk about privacy concerns.
This seems to come up a lot with AI tools.
And for good reason.
Mm.
The privacy policies for many of these tools are often, let's just say, opaque or buried deep. The information we've gathered from the sources strongly advises exercising extreme caution.
Meaning?
Meaning you should never, ever input anything highly personal like detailed financial info, private medical details, sensitive company secrets, anything that you wouldn't want to potentially become part of someone else's private or even public data set down the line.
Wow. Okay. So assume it could be seen or used.
It's the safest assumption, especially if you're using a free account, or even if a paid pro account doesn't explicitly state very clearly that your data won't be used for training their future models. When in doubt, just leave it out. Don't paste sensitive stuff in.
That's a very clear warning. Okay, privacy first. What else? Bias.
Yes, bias.
Yes.
This is inherent because the LLMs learn from vast amounts of internet data, which, as we know, contains plenty of existing societal biases.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out, potentially.
Somewhat, yes. And importantly, users like us cannot directly reduce those inherent biases in the model itself. That's controlled by the designers and the data they chose for training.
So what can we do?
We can be aware of it, and we can try to mitigate the reproduction of bias in the output by giving specific instructions in our prompts. For example, asking the AI to explicitly consider or include different cultural perspectives, age groups, races, geographic viewpoints, or political leanings in its response.
So prompting for diversity to counteract potential bias.
It can help nudge the output in a more balanced direction, but it's not a perfect fix. Awareness is key.
Okay. Privacy, bias. And finally, something that sounds a bit sci-fi but is a very real challenge. Hallucinations.
It's a strange term, but apt.
Hmm.
LLMs can hallucinate, which basically means they generate incorrect, nonsensical, or completely made-up information, but present it with complete confidence, as if it were fact.
They just make stuff up.
Sometimes, yes. If they don't have the right information or pattern in their training data, they might essentially fill in the blanks incorrectly.
Yeah.
This is why it is absolutely crucial to fact-check all results, especially any factual claims, with reputable independent sources.
Don't trust, verify.
Always. You need to be extremely careful when using LLMs for anything related to critical fields like law or medicine or detailed historical perspectives, or, frankly, any subject where you are not already something of an expert yourself and can spot potential errors.
So treat it like a very enthusiastic, sometimes creative, but occasionally mistaken research assistant.
And a pretty good way to put it.
All right.
A helpful tool, but one that needs supervision and critical evaluation.
Okay. So privacy, bias, hallucinations, really important limitations to keep top of mind. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have.
We've journeyed from that fundamental understanding of how LLMs work, predicting the next word, learning from data, to mastering that practical 4Cs framework for prompting: character, clarity, context, chain of thought.
And we saw lots of examples.
Lots of examples. And finally, recognizing those important limitations and how to navigate them responsibly.
And the key message, really, is that by continuously refining your prompting skills, by understanding these nuances, you are actively expanding your own AI skills, your knowledge, and ultimately your confidence in using these tools effectively.
You become a more effective and informed user.
Exactly.
And to leave you with a final provocative thought, our source material offers a simple yet incredibly impactful golden rule of AI.
I love this one.
It's just, don't be lazy.
Blunt but true.
Right. It encourages you, the listener, to continue exploring, to critically engage with these AI tools. Don't just accept the first output. Apply these insights for continuous learning and growth. The more effort and thought you put into your prompts,
The more value you'll extract. It's a collaboration.
absolutely, don't be lazy. A great note to end on.